18th, Town of Porter Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. You can face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, do we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kremke?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Next item on our agenda are appointments of officers and secretary for 2026. First appointment would be president. Do we have any nominations?
I'd nominate John Kremke for president.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Nominations for vice president.
Mr. Mellinger?
I'll second that.
Okay, and for secretary.
Oh, no, that's gonna be hard. I nominate Tammy.
I'll second that.
Okay,
You gotta get along
all
with
in
us,
favor
though,
of all
Tammy.
of that?
No raises.
Okay, consideration of minutes from our January meeting. Are there
No.
any?
Do we need to vote?
We need
Oh, we need to vote.
Those, yeah.
That's right. So can we do a vote on all three at the same time?
If someone wants to combine their motion into one.
All right, then
for
we'll
all
do, all right. So President John Kremke, all in favor?
Aye.
Vice President, Mr. Mellinger, all in favor?
Aye.
Vice, or Secretary, Tammy Stefana, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Uh,
That was an aye. There's still two of us, Jim, you don't count.
I know. You never count, so you
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta have it.
We gotta have three.
gotta have some fun.
All right, so consideration of minutes from our January meeting. Are there any comments or amendments? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
I can't second.
All right. Can I second this, President?
Sure.
Okay. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's up to you, it's personal preference, so.
Okay, next item on the agenda is called audience participation. And that's for anyone in the audience to approach the board for something that is not already on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have no old business. We do have a preliminary hearing for Joshua Snyder, 64 Cool Creek Court in Carmel, Indiana, requesting a developmental standards variance at 3030 State Street, Porter, Indiana, for a fence in a front yard and for a fence being over 4 foot tall. So, Mr. Schneider, you want to tell us about your petition?
Hi, I'm Josh Schneider. I'm a commercial flooring installer from Central Indiana. I'm very happy to be here tonight to tell you a little bit about my history, the purpose of the fence, and the goals for the future. I would like to start by introducing you to the property that has been in our family since 1931, and it was added to in the 60s. When I joined the family in 1982, the property had already been a fountain of high-quality family memories for many decades. As a child, my siblings and I would come up and spend summers with my grandfather at the beach. He was a lifelong resident of Valparaiso. We would come to the beach almost daily. I remember eating at the inn, buying trinkets at the gift shop. I remember my first conversation with Carl. He told me if I ever needed anything, that just to let him know, and then he gave me $1. We became instant friends. Each time I would come up to the beach, I would seek him out and we would chat. With all the fond memories made in my younger years, now I look to the future for the next chapter, raising my 4 daughters and my wife at this beach. Now I'd like to talk about the fence. I can think of 2 groups of people that I would like to protect with this fence. The first of all, my family, from unwanted visitors at all times of day. This building's appearance harkens back to the heyday of the national parks, and it attracts people to it. With all the attention, the fence can protect the property from unwanted guests wandering through. I would like to cite a couple different data points for you. On December 31st, we installed a motion-activated security camera system on October 31st. Since then, we've had 130 motion-activated occurrences on our porch. Please note, this area is surrounded by a glass fence. There's only two ways in. You can either enter through the back gate, or you can walk all the way down the side yard to get onto this porch. Most of them were on the ceramic and underneath the awning of the actual structure. Some of them were seen messing with the hot tub and/or the grill. All of these guests were uninvited, unknown trespassers. Another event took place was when a person walked into when an unknown person walked in and asked my wife, "Where's the restroom?" While my wife had her back turned doing dishes at the sink, she turned and was very surprised, and this was very unsettling to her. When she mentioned that this was a private residence, he quickly apologized and left the space promptly. This could have ended very differently. We are very grateful that it ended the way it did. I now like to point out to the board all the fences located on the roadways in the neighborhood within 1 block of this house, one of which is built in the right-of-way. This is the fence at 3027 State Street. (3019) State Street. And these are all along the side of the road, which would be considered the front of your house. 3043 Dearborn. 3030 Dearborn. I'm pretty sure this fence belongs to you at 101 Johnson Beach Road. And this one is in the right-of-way at 3016 State Street. The fence that we have partially built has a complementary scale and design of the home's architecture. This fence will protect the type of investment that this city should encourage. It possesses a unique design and is made very durable with long-lasting materials. Although all the fences that I have noticed or have showed you today, they do not meet the 49% obscure or opaque standard, which is in your guys' standard. We choose to use glass, not structure, or not to obstruct the view. We would like to point out to the board that the details of this fence have been carefully put together and allow for a seamless, safe transition to divide the public area and the private area. A unique feature of this property is that our property provides access to the, Our property provides access to the Dearborn Parking Association through a year-to-year private license for usability for driving, parking, and walking. Due to this helpful resource for the Dearborn Parking Association, we have more people crossing our property than normal, and we want to make a clear designation between our private space and the private licensed usable space. Our goal for the future is, I have some photos of the passing way, if you want to see it. Sure, why not? Here is the passing way we're referring to. This section that's leased by the Dearborn Parking Association is owned by Jerry. This section is owned by myself and my dad. Okay. Our goal for the future is to finally complete this never-ending project. We can appreciate that it has been 6 years for this project, and we recognize that many households would like to see it completed. This is the final piece of the puzzle. We would like to thank the board, the town of Porter, and the beachgoers for their continued support as we look forward to making more decades of memories and celebrating the 100th year of owning this property, or having this property in our family. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay. First thing, I just want to let the audience know that the purpose of today's hearing is to make a decision on setting this for public hearing for next month. So next month will be the time, there'll be advertisements that'll go out, there'll be a sign on the property. It'll be the time to speak about this case. But tonight,
I do have one more thing to add, that if there's any possibility we could not do that and have go ahead and make a decision tonight, because literally at 3:30 this afternoon, I had people on my front porch trespassing. We have caution tape around the property. They tore it down, they walked up on the front porch. I walked out of the mechanical room looking out at the lake, and there's 2 people staring in. If you guys are truly concerned about public safety, this needs to happen sooner than later. Somebody is going to get hurt.
unfortunately, we cannot do that because the rules that we go by are state statutory rules. So we're unable to change that.
Okay.
So this is the process. Unfortunately,
No, it's
that's just how it works, yeah.
Can I add to that,
Yes.
just for clarity? So the board is able to make its own rules. However, as the president pointed out, these are hard and fast rules that pertain to due process, and your neighbors have the right, and the town in general, to publication of notice and notice to what you're doing, and then they have an opportunity to come and speak for or against. So those couldn't be changed on their best day or if they desired. So those are outside of their control to change and are necessary.
Yeah, because for the next meeting, you'll actually notify your neighbors to give them the opportunity to be here.
Oh, I'm sure they know I'm here.
Okay, well, I'm sure they do, but again, it's process, so, okay. Mr. Berry, do you have anything to?
Well, he's correct, the property south of him is not a street. I think some people think that's a road, private property. The 2 parcels are part of Dearborn Parking Association, connects State Street to Dearborn Street, so that is private property. When this started, short version is, he did get a permit for a fence in the back of the house, and I guess we had a misunderstanding in what that covered, so it doesn't cover this. And that's why I requested that he stop working on it and get the variance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mike and Jim, because I talked to Mike today. I've been on this board for over 20-some years, and I read the overlay the other day just to refresh myself. And I was under the understanding, I told Mike, that you couldn't have any fences in the front yard and that. And then Mike clarified to me what you and Jim had talked about the 15 feet and that. We've never done that in the past. And also, Dearborn Street, one time we had a big thing about people parking on that. It said it was owned by the town. Of course, the previous contractor, who was the head of a local party, political party, he did whatever he wanted out there. And that's how my driveway is State Street, where I live out there. So there's a lot of confusion, or it was with me, reading the overlay in that, because we have actually turned down people who tried to put fences in their front yard.
The Porter Beach overlays has a section on landscape fencing.
Yep,
But it
You-
doesn't-
you told me.
It doesn't say you can't have fencing, it just defines landscape fencing. So that's what he's referring to.
I thought maybe some of the other members on the
The other
board.
part is, it says you can't put a fence within 15 feet of a property line, fence or wall, within 15 feet of a property line, unless it's a landscape fence, so.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the code.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? comments?
Well, and the other thing he clarified to me was downtown area. Here, there is a section where you can put fences in the front net, and I don't remember that either. We've never had, we did out here on Waverly had a problem with a picket fence, not a picket, the wood fence put on. I just thought I'd bring that up because we want to do what's right for everybody. And that, just like all the fences you showed me, I know they're there, but I don't know how they got the permission to put them up.
May not have. The two adjacent fences have variances. Two, right on either side, you have Ray's and Von Topel's fence. I don't know when the other ones got built.
Well, in the old days, they did whatever they wanted.
Okay, any other?
So, I just have a
Go ahead.
question. I saw the one picture that has the pillars and stuff that are up there. Yeah. Yeah, so in between there, this says that there's chain and glass. Is that,
They're not right now.
no, but that would be the plan. I guess I'm trying to understand what,
In between the columns, there'd be a chain.
There'll be 3 1-meter squares of glass.
I'm sorry, what?
3 1-meter squares of glass,
Okay,
and then a chain behind it.
and then, so just kinda looking at the spacing, 13 feet, there'll just be small gaps in between there? Is that in between the glass?
Yeah, the total for it's like just under 10 feet for the 3 meters altogether. And I think our columns are spaced out at 10'2", 10'3". Is my tape measure right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, cause they have 13 to the centers, so.
Did you, to set the columns and that, did you actually have a surveyor out just to check the property lines? Make sure the
We already have
location.
all those staked right now from the build. All the stakes are still
Okay,
there.
all right, so you use that,
Yep.
all right,
We're inside, we're all on our property.
inside of them, okay.
There's nothing on the line.
And then how high would the glass blocks be?
They're 1 meter squares, so
Okay.
it would be like
39 inches?
39 inches, and then there'll be a small base that they'll sit on to make them all uniform.
Okay.
It's gonna be a good looking fence.
Anything else, Jim?
No,
Anything else? All right,
I just think for clarity's sake, he's asked for relief under the regular zoning section in this petition. They're in the overlay district, yes?
Yeah.
So technically, he should ask for relief so that the ultimate decision, well, for everything, right?
Yeah, you can
And
add a line for
he's
that.
not supposed to have anything but landscaping fencing.
Well, it doesn't say you can't have fence in that code. All it says on the last line is it defines landscape fencing. So it doesn't say anywhere you can't have it, but it says landscape fencing must be blank, blank, blank. And that can be within the 15-foot setback. So if we wanted to add, he's within the 15-foot setback, that would accommodate Porter Beach overlay. Just add a sentence that says that in there.
Yeah, I just think it's important to have, so that for the future, when all of us aren't here and some future boards want to question, that, then it's clear that, you know, it might be overkill, but it'll help in the future. And future generations that own that house, that you've asked for all the relief you might need, because the worst thing is when you don't ask for everything, or you ask for partial, and then you go back for a building permit and you don't get it, because you need another variance, for instance. So-
Should we just add that to your variance requested, just put it?
Yeah, and I think that would be fine overall, and then in the
How do we
notice.
word that?
we should have that part of our motion tonight then, add that tonight, or just for the public?
Then it'll amend it, and I just think as long as his notice, whatever he sends out,
Okay.
asks, seeks that proper relief.
I'll just,
Okay.
we'll add that.
Do we need to have anything that says, like, how far in front of the structure it is? I mean, the front yard's pretty general. You could be right up to the road, or you could be so far.
Who measured that off? What was the distance?
Which section?
Just from the front of the house out to the, I know you're past, he's past the septic, so he's clear the septic.
I couldn't really
Past
within 10
that.
feet of the septic, so
Yeah.
it's probably like 25 feet, maybe?
And you can drag a tape, we can add that on the,
Yeah, I just think we
you
should,
got the drawing, you can just throw a dimension on it.
yeah, I think we should have that for
Okay.
where he's gonna locate the fence in the front,
Okay.
or where
I
he
mean,
wants
it's
to
already
locate
there.
it.
The-
No, but that way,
Yeah, just.
it'll
throw a
be,
dimension.
it'll be in the application. That way, people that wanna know, hey, where's this fence gonna be, they'll be able to, I know what you're saying, you can see by where the columns are, but it just makes it, normally when we give people a variance, if they wanna, go so far back, like, if they wanna exceed like the side yard setback or something, we tell them how far they can go, instead of just giving them free range once they, that's why we do that, just so that way it's, avoids confusion and,
Well, that way there's no misunderstanding when they get the building permit,
Correct.
for the fence.
Yep.
We could add those two.
Okay. Anything else, anybody? Okay.
do we need anything for the heights?
That's in the variance.
That's
I think
in
it's on the drawing.
We probably,
He's
well,
got the dimensions on the drawing.
that's a good point though, too, and,
So he wrote in there a variance for height, because they're over 4 feet high. The columns are 5 and 8 feet tall, plus the cap, so.
so we probably want to be as specific on the height as we, are on everything
It's
else.
on- It's on the, yeah, it's on the drawing.
Right, but it's important to have it in the application too, and have it, in notice as well, because at some point, that stuff may get separated in the future.
So 8 foot.
And like you said, there's no question at building permit time, none at all.
And I think you should be aware that regardless of what he's asking for, if you're inclined to grant it, you get to put conditions on it.
Correct.
So those are, the specificity will help everybody based on, given that you've already started,
Yeah,
right, that everything's
Yeah.
clear.
Are the caps all the same size?
They're all 7 inches thick.
So they're 7 plus 5 feet, 7 plus 8 feet, right? Those
Yeah,
columns
I mean, I
are
can
5
just
feet.
go measure them and tell you.
Okay. Yeah, just,
The way the ground slopes, like it might not stick out as much here as it does there, right?
sure.
So,
No, I mean,
like the general
that's
height,
understandable,
so
yeah.
what I have is I have a general column that just gets repeated, and then I have 2 bigger ones that are just
Right.
repeated. I mean, they're pretty common, right? They're all built exactly the same, but if it's more down on the ground or the hill's coming across. them,
Right. No, yeah, no, we understand that. Okay.
With the wind we've been having, it might change from the time you measure it till we have our meeting, right?
Sure, yeah, yeah. All
Yeah,
right,
I mean, the neighbors-
yeah. Anything else, anybody? Think we covered it? All right, then I will entertain a motion on, setting this for public hearing
I'll make a motion, we go to public hearing
next month.
meeting.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Erickson?
Yes,
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Krupke?
Yes. Okay, so you're set for public hearing for next month. There are some notice requirements to do, and I am sure that Mrs. Savant has a lot of instructions for you. Okay. All
Thanks.
right. We have no public hearing. Any other business for the board? Anybody? All right. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Do you have a real pen?